Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina. We're talking with Sheriff Mike Hale, who is in an election cycle this November.
It is.
And has an opponent. So welcome to the show.
Tommy, just glad to be here again.
Yeah, you're a regular.
Well,
somewhat.
I am.
You're getting that way. You don't have your sidekick with you today.
Who, Christian?
Yeah.
My great deputy chief. My great chief deputy. He's one of the best.
He required you to call him that?
Yeah, chief. Yeah, chief.
No, great.
No, we have a deal, though. I have some deputy chiefs, and of course, he's the chief deputy. And the deal is, in the office, he's the big chief.
He's the big chief.
That's right.
Well, you have opposition. This is the first time I think you've had opposition in a while. I don't know. How long have you been sheriff?
I was first elected in '98.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're getting old. I still remember Woodlawn High School.
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
And have you been unopposed every term since then? You've had opposition?
I've always had opposition. I've always. I guess, it should be contested. It's an office that the deputies, they're carrying deadly force, and I think the people love the sheriff's position, and I think it's important for them to be able to select someone they trust to put in such a important county office.
Well, the issue has come up about why we Jefferson County sheriffs don't have dash cams or body cams. Mm-hmm. Some people think that's like the key to salvation of all the police misconduct or human misconduct, whichever side it falls on,
right,
would best be served if we could just have a picture of what's going on and what's going down. Why don't we have those things?
Well,
just curious.
Tommy, the fact is we do. We've deployed...
so if somebody said we didn't, they would be mistaken.
They'd be misinformed. You're exactly right. Mm-hmm. What we did do is we waited till about 10 months ago. We're in like... generation 4 of the body cams. And to explain it like this, if folks have an iPhone, what's the iPhone generation, about 10? I'm sure there's so much improvement and it's so different from 10 to 1. That's what we have between the first generation and the 4th generation body cam. In short, it was a searchability feature. It would have taken millions of dollars and about 25 personnel to be able to search and store, have my servers on board. That's not necessary with Generation 4, what we have now. That stuff is stored in the cloud. People know what the cloud is now, and the searchability will not require that much money. It'll be very, very reasonable. So
when you say the searchability, what do you mean?
The ability to go back to a time and date upon a complaint or something that a commander is interested to and find the event. Find the event that may have happened at 6:27 p.m. 2 weeks prior. The ability to search it.
Well, you would think if an event occurred, it would be like simultaneously captured on this recording device. That's not necessarily the case.
Well, yeah, but with over 100 and we're going to deploy 300, about 300 cameras when you do everything. But on any one night or any one day, there are 37 beats running, 37 deputy sheriffs. There will be that many. There will be 6 teams of warrant detail deputies going after folks. There could be a SWAT deal. There could be a vice narcotics deal. There could be an entry that's being made into a cell over in the jail. Those are the kind of things of conflict that we want to record. But also, for the first time, this generation of body cams, we're going to be able to get the same vendor to put our dash cams in the cars, and they will play off each other. They will become one platform, and they will be geocoded to each other. So they actually act in concert and give a different position, and they record that. So if you search and find the event maybe on the dash cam in the car, that automatically will throw you to the number. Everybody has a body cam there. And so, you know, we think it's great. The ability to store is not going to take up space in the sheriff's office like it would in Generation 1, 2, and 3. It's we don't have to have servers in-house, and we have just a few personnel that'll have to be able to search. So we think it's the right thing, but they, as of this date and time, they are deployed, and we're going to deploy more every couple of weeks.
And we have the funding in place to make that happen?
Absolutely, we do. We have the funding in place. It's in the budget, and it's recurrable funding, because see, there's always upgrades to what you buy, so that's in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So, if you had to answer this question, continuity of leadership in the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, how critical is that in a position like you have right now, in terms of bringing someone new in?
Well, I'd like to say this, Tommy. We've got some great initiatives going on with the Metro Area Crime Center. The ability to, and the leadership of the office to bring in 20 agencies that shares real-time data, the ability to keep our hiring and promotion initiatives going the way we have hired and promoted to reflect the community we serve, I think is critical in Birmingham, Alabama. It's important to note that the federal judge released us from a 35-year-old consent decree because he felt Sheriff Hale and his team had got it right. It's just important to reflect the community where we don't have a Dallas or Ferguson, Missouri, or something like that here. And we cannot have that here as long as our office reflects the community they serve. So those are the kind of initiatives, our School Resource Officer Division, to be able to show leadership and say, you know, you hear what the national conversation is about how everybody's concerned about the schools, and to be able to convert that and say, you know what, we have a way to do it. We can afford to do it by hiring retired officers for $40,000 a year, and to also get the school board and the commission to fund that, and the personnel board to sign off on part-time or contract positions. We thought was huge. I think that shows great leadership from my team, and that's the kind of continuity I think that Jefferson County wants as their to have in their sheriff's office.
I want to talk about that school resource officer when we come back. We're going to take a short break. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina. We're talking with Sheriff Mike Hale. You announced recently, I saw it in the newspaper, about putting school resource officers in each county school.
Yes.
But we were pulling these officers from the retired officer rank as opposed to the new recruit rank. Is that
that's exactly
is that exactly what
that's how we're able to do it. Yes.
That's good.
You know, we what
got
we did.
some old timers in there.
Well, we do, but they're young old timers. You know, the national conversation with after Sandy Hook and after these just deadly school shootings were maybe retired military, retired law enforcement. Well, the problem is retired. These are guys and girls that are doing what they do when they want to do it. But I like the concept of retired equals experienced. And so what we're able to do, the ones that still are young, maybe 20, 25-year retirement, we're going to train them. We're going to pay them $40,000 a year, give them a car, and I promise you they are going to love serving as SROs in these schools.
Will they have like a desk and a place to go? Are they wandering throughout? I trust they're armed.
Well, they're going to be armed just like they're going to be armed with the correct body armor, the correct ammunition, the correct firepower. We want that SRO, Tommy, to be able, if there's a threat in that school, not to have to wait on anybody else to come. We want this SRO to be able to immediately have the training, go in, disrupt, save the children. That's what the national conversation is, and that's why I think we're leading the nation in saying it's important to us to put a deputy sheriff in every Jefferson County school. But also, there are some private schools. John Carroll wants to be a part of it. St. Francis wants to be a part of it. There's a couple of cities that are inquiring about it, and the Alabama School of Fine Arts wants to be a part of it. So the threat is real, and the solution is real too. I'm just proud of the leadership of my team that has able to put this together. Dr. Craig Pouncey, Board of Ed Superintendent, and also Joe Knight, Jimmy Stevens on the commission side saw the value in protecting our school children.
Yeah. What else out there besides that do you have going on? I know you got the multi-jurisdictional center, database center.
We do.
Which is...
The Metro Area Crime Center, I can explain it one way. Got 20 agencies that are giving us real-time data. For instance, Tommy, just imagine there's a robbery. And let's say Midfield has a partial tag number and description. Birmingham has a partial. Homewood has a partial. And maybe Coleman has a partial. We can put that all together in one room and come up with who the offender is and solve the crime. That's the easy explanation. And I'm just so very proud of that concept. They're doing it. They're going to copy what we're doing over in Oxford. They're going to copy what we're doing up in Huntsville. And I think Mobile is going to readjust what they're doing. So we're going to have some, we're setting a great example for the rest of the state. I call it precision policing, but this is a great way to fight crime.
And are we getting cooperation amongst municipalities to participate in it?
Well, we are.
Including Birmingham?
We are. Mayor Woodfin came over. Patrick Smith, new chief. I like him. Alan Treadaway, the assistant chief. They believe in it. We're getting real-time data. We're not getting delayed data. And that's important. Like I said, just take the example of one crime, a guy's on a crime spree, and they've got everybody has a little bit of the description, put it together, you solve the crime. It's just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, that's good. What else is going on in our funding world? Are you okay financial wise? You got some surplus? You need more deputies? What do you need?
Well, thanks, Tommy. Let me say this. I've been blessed with a great commission. I suffered a $22 million budget shortfall one time. But it was with the deputies' help that we ended up having to close the jail. But at the end of the day, we still live within our budget. We still delivered services, and that's what we're doing now. The budget, like I said, plans for a lot. It plans for the ability to finish putting our cameras in the cars. It allows for funding for the school resource officers, and it allows us to have to hire the proper amount of deputies. Now, look, I'll tell you this one thing, too. This Metro Area Crime Center, I go back to it. You make the deputies that we have right now smarter. You give them the information you need. You very well may just have to, you can cut down on the amount of deputies and police officers that could be used. You know, the old excuse is if you have a crime problem, just hire more deputies, hire more police officers.
Or lock them up.
Well, yeah.
We can't lock up.
Can't lock up everybody, but we can have the most efficient, knowledgeable police officers and deputies out there armed with the latest crime-fighting data, and that's what we intend to do.
Well, one thing I've heard on a state level, there's movement toward more post-incarcerative supervision of individuals who are released from prison. They have found if we supervise those individuals more intensely, the likelihood to reoffend is diminished. Are you aware of that act that's coming out of the new crime package and the new crime bills that have been passed with the guidelines and all those sorts of things?
Yeah, I've been keeping up with that. I will tell you this: we're going to, Tommy, in the Jefferson County Jail that is a pretrial facility. Inmates
pretty lenient in terms of release for certain offenders.
Well, of course, that's under the authority of the judge.
Yeah.
And we're going to do one thing we're going to keep on doing. We're going to keep on giving an opportunity for the ones that are in our jail to get a GED. Look, I know that gives them a chance they'll have a chance to get a job and maybe they can get out of that thieving and these other things.
We're going to
with
talk about
education.
it some more when we come back. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina, talking with Sheriff Mike Hale, candidate for re-election in November. So we hear a lot about opioids and opioid epidemic,
Yes.
and how Big Pharma has driven partially that problem.
Yeah.
I know there's a drug out there called Vivitrol that blocks the receptors so that a person doesn't necessarily get the benefit of what heroin does.
Am I talking to a physician or attorney?
You're talking to a guy that works in the criminal justice
That's
system
right.
and is looking for ways to solve problems. But
You're right.
Vivitrol can't do it by itself. One, it's got to be available. Are y'all utilizing it?
Well, we are, and we're doing it in partnership like we've done with Task in Foster Cook and UAB, where we keep a check on those that got out on bond. Same thing here. If you're released and they qualify for the program, they can get some Vivitrol, which blocks them for 30 days, takes that craving away. They're released to the community. They work with UAB. It doesn't cost my office anything. It doesn't cost UAB anything because UAB is managing a federal grant. It is really a godsend.
Where's the money go to Big Pharma? It's got to come from somewhere to pay for that shot.
Well, it does, and that's a recurring federal grant that UAB has gotten, and because we're in the same town, and of course they know that we incarcerate 1/3 of the state's population of inmates, that we're close to them, and it's a good place to give back to the community.
So Vivitrol works like this: if you're looking for a parking place in the Walmart and you pull in there, there's nowhere to park. So the same thing would be true when you inject yourself with heroin. There is nothing for it to attach to in your brain that would give you the euphoria that causes you to want to keep doing it. And that's the pharmacology behind Vivitrol. Right. Is there a lawsuit pending? Have we sued Big Pharma?
Tommy, we have. Not only do we continue to fight crime, but I filed suit against the opioid manufacturers for flooding our market. And I've also, in addition to that, got several cities to join us along with the county commission. But we are still attacking it from the criminal enterprise standpoint for my vice narcotics officers. I have given deputies to the Drug Enforcement Administration where we are monitoring physicians who are overprescribing. So we feel like, along with our drug education in the schools, holding the drug manufacturers accountable, that we are covering the spectrum, and we want to defeat this thing that has increased deaths in our county and across the nation by over 700%.
Yeah,
Scourge.
But they did it, they were trying to tighten up the availability of opioids, and in doing so, they increased the user accessibility to heroin.
Heroin, fentanyl, all that became deadly.
So now we can't get opioids, very difficult to get these days for legitimate pain reasons. So we've sent the street person in the wrong direction.
Well,
but we got to get them back.
That's why it's important that my vice narcotics deputies are still investigating the criminal enterprise of the heroin and the things that are replacing. All we can do is attack it and try to dry it up, and that's what we're going to stay on point on that.
What would you think Big Pharma could do if you had a wish list of what they could do to make things better? They can't quit making it. I don't think. I guess they could.
I think it has to be managed. I think they have to make more strict the guidelines in which they dispense it. I think it has to be in a proper amount that comes to a doctor, times how many doctors, times the community. And I think they have to be very strict about that.
Yeah, I noticed they are certainly keeping score of who is prescribing opioids these days, and how they fare compared to the second highest prescriber, for example. And so you're seeing prosecutions mostly at the federal level against pain management
That's
clinics and things of that nature.
That's right. Tommy, you just you made me think about something else, and I know we're drawing close to the end, but violent crime in Birmingham, Jefferson County is something that I paid attention to. And whereas I respect certainly the city of Birmingham and other cities for policing their own, that's why I've dedicated deputies and assigned them to the ATF task force to fight violent crime. For instance, one of my 3 deputies assigned to the task force have made over 70 arrests. That's 70 violent criminals carrying a firearm. But the neat thing about this, if they're convicted and when they're convicted, it's a mandatory 12-year sentence that they serve every day of it.
Ouch.
So I don't have the total for all of my deputies, but roughly 70, 40, and 30. That's what the Jefferson County deputies have taken off the street with the ATF in the city of Birmingham and surrounding jurisdictions. I'm so proud of them for doing that.
That's great.
And that's attacking violent crime.
Well, you just got to stay after it.
Yes,
you can't,
without a doubt.
You can't let your guard down.
I got some of the best deputies in the United States. We're the 34th largest sheriff's office, and I will tell you, the Jefferson County deputies act like it as far as leadership.
Well, I appreciate you being there to lead them.
Well, I appreciate it. It's an honor to serve.
And thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks, Tommy.
This is Our Issues Birmingham. We'll see you next week.